folks, how you doing? Let's get to work. Hey folks, how you doing? It's Pat Butler. Hopefully you're having a great day. Hey, I just want to go ahead and take a minute and let you know kind of about this episode. Real quick, I did an episode and it covered the same subject. It was going to be episode 4, but with all the stuff that happened last week, I wanted to go back and revisit it, especially after everything last night. So we want to kind of wipe the board, go back to episode 4, which is going to be a lot about the pre-listing inspection program, but it's going to have to do with some specific subjects. So check it out, and here we go. Okay, folks, real quick. I, I hope you've seen this before. This is one of my thought bars where I kind of mind map everything out. And if you haven't seen it, let me kind of explain it to you before. When I come into a situation I'm trying to work through, what I'll do is I'll just create a whiteboard like this, and I'll kind of just work things out. So basically, this is my pre-listing inspection board. So in case you have not seen it before, let me give you a quick explanation of what it is, and then we'll dig into today's lesson. Alrighty? So all the things that's on the 3x5 cards are the things that are the main factors in a pre-listing inspection sale. Okay, and just to go real quick, you got like the listing agent, the home seller, the house itself, the buyer's agent, the actual buyer, the second home inspector, maintenance contractors, and you. Now, all 7 of those factors are the main things inside of a pre-listing home sale. It's in most home sales, but we specifically talk about pre-listing or pre-sale. All right. Now, on the left side, you have the 6 X factors, or what we call conditions. Okay. Those things are the things that influences the other 7, so that you can figure out what are the things that's most likely going to happen, and also how do you control or manage any particular situation. All right. So we have Zillow, Open Door, which are kind of like the same thing, but they're kind of specific. They're a little bit different just because of how it affects the buyer and seller agent. And then you have communication, haters, my little abbreviation for haters, time, and marketing. Okay. So if you wanted to talk about marketing, you would talk about marketing as far as how would you market to the listing agent. Might be different from how you market to the buyer's agent, or the buyer or the seller or the contractor. So that's kind of way the system works. All right, this is the same tool that we use in the military of how we train soldiers about situational awareness. Okay, so it's a business tool, but it works fantastic, especially with situations like this. And there's 2 things that I really want to talk about specifically right now, and it's those 2 on the left that's kind of highlighted. All right, we got the haters and the time. So that's what today's lesson is going to be about. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's deal with haters first, okay? Haters are the people who, no matter what you do, are not going to support the program. No matter how much you try, no matter how many sit-downs, no matter how many coffees or going into inspection offices and doing the presentation, they're just not going to support it. In fact, they're going to be counter it. These are the people that's always going to be in the room, and they're going to what if just to shake you. They want to debunk you or the program or both for whatever reasons. And the reasons are not really important. But just knowing that they're out there and some of their tactics is something that you need to know how to manage that. So what do you do when you are dealing with a hater that's a real estate agent, either a buyer or seller? Okay, you have to know how to control the conversation. I've always said, and I continue to say, that we do not have enough voice in the conversation. Home inspectors collectively, if we want our situation to get better, we're going to have to be a bigger voice in the argument. Okay? Do not wait for the almighty home inspector to come riding down on the white horse and speaking truth to power and going to make things better. It's a nice world. Those were great stories, but that's not the That's not the reality that we live in. The reality that we live in is that everybody's going to have to do their part. So when you see these other forums that real estate agents or contractors are in and they're talking bad about inspectors, then you're going to have to inject and start speaking in those corridors and in those confines of why home inspection matters. Okay, you have to be your own advocate. You know, if you want to see change, you're going to have to be that change. So we're going to have a bigger voice in the narrative. Because right now, the agents, they're telling people what they should expect from a homeowner. Contractors are telling homeowners or agents what we missed and how come they're so much important. And the buyers and the sellers only really get to hear it from their points of view. If we want to change how we are looked upon as far as the industry and not be at the bottom rung, then we collectively are going to have to raise the game together. Okay, so when you're in these situations, now you have to be that voice. I'm not saying that you're going to have to win. We already said that, no matter what you do, they're not going to support you. But you need to have that in the conversation, because people take silence as basically that you agree with them. Okay? So if you don't speak about it, then obviously it must be true. That's the way most people look at the situation. So make sure that if you want somebody else who happens to be listening to conversation, that you hear your voice and say why it is that you could save them money from buying or selling a home. What are some of the things that you can do to improve upon the maintenance conditions so that your parts and the functions in the home last longer and serve you better? So these things are very tangible, valuable bits of information that you need to go ahead and start to interject into the conversation. Go ahead and start posting some of these other informations. If you've got safety recalls, or if you know that about condition of roof, or how does a GFCI or AFCI work, you're going to have to be in these conversations so that you bring up your own personal value. And when we do it collectively, it's going to raise all ships, and we will all start to have a better appearance or a better response in the community at large, because we are bringing value to our clients. So that's how you start to control the conversation and how you manage haters. Now, real quick, last night I explained about my program and how happy I was, and then there was a lot of detractors that was on there. Okay, and I just want to say this real quick. I don't mind defending my baby. Okay, I've worked on this for a long time, and it's and it's not for everybody, and I get that, and I respect that. But when you call in my personal questions about as far as my military, please know that you're not just hurting me. You're hurting my family, because they sacrificed so much in support of me in not just one but two wars and multiple deployments where I was not around. And it took everything in their power to keep everything going with the trust that I'm doing a good thing. So I'm just asking person to person, please refrain from making a personal issue, because when you do that, the people that do look to you call you into question. And that's a fight that nobody should have to have. I have family members that want to come into our industry, and I'm trying to train them. And if they turn around and see that, I'm a liar and stuff like that, then they're like, well, why should I even go into this? This is just more of the same. All right. One of my biggest pet peeves is stop eating our children. Okay. And this is one of the things that we do. If you want to say, Pat, I think your system sucks, hey, I'm not going to argue with it. It might suck for you. I'm not gonna argue that part. But the one thing that I do feel personal, and I know that I'm just trying to be responsible about it because I don't want to do it to anybody else. Please, let's just not keep let's keep it professional and not deal personal. All right, no more personal attacks. All right, this is another way why we keep our own industry down. If we talk bad about each other, how is anybody else going to turn around and say that we're bringing in value? All right, enough about that. We'll go on. But today's lesson, I want to deal strictly with time. All right. The reason I do with time is because it affects everything else. Normally, in a regular home sale, when you are working for a potential buyer, usually it's around 10 days. 10 days it takes for them to come into an agreement, to sign a contract to buy the property, and now they hire you to go in there and inspect that house. So by the time they do that, you do the inspection, give that report back, and then they got to report on any conditions that they don't agree on or they want to have fixed or price adjusted. They only have 10 days. And that's just an average because in different areas it's going to be different. But if you don't do it in that 10 days, then no matter how great your inspection report is, or no matter how great of inspection you are, it's no value because it didn't get back in enough time. Okay? Now, for pre-listed inspections, it's accelerated because from the time that the listing agent signs a contract to sell that home, usually it's about 3 days. Okay? So if they sign that and you can't get to them in enough time to do that house and get it back so that they can report an accurate price, then it's all for naught. So actually there's a lot less time in certain situations when you're dealing with a pre-listed inspection that you need to be able to manage. Okay? So how do we manage that? Real quick, if you have specific days during the week. This is my recommendation, and this is part of my program. If you have specific days of the week that you have partitioned off, or you prioritized pre-listing inspections, then that agent can manage this time a whole lot more effectively. Okay? Now you see how time and you and them starts to make this situation better. So you got to be able to, as soon as they give you a call, they need to know that you can go in at that time, do that inspection, get it back to them so that they can have that conversation of how much they want to list that house or what are the conditions that they want to disclose or have repaired. So timing is a very important thing. And there's another small caveat to time, and that is your own personal time. All the inspectors that I train, I say that you should have a life, okay? Because the people that I hire are full-time college students, people that's changing careers, or families. You know, they have a lot of other things going on. So I had to manage a system or create a system so that they can go in there, inspect the house, report upon the house quickly, accurately, and to get it back on time. And not only so that they can manage the price, but they actually feel like they got a value, or the buyer had a value. So I had to create a system that works for everybody and in a timely manner. So that's what I want to talk about today. How do you go in here and inspect that house and get it back in that time, and within that 72-hour period, in less than 24 hours, how you can get that inspection done and back to that agent in enough time that they can actually manage and forecast and properly list that house with the proper pricing and disclosures. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to break this up in parts. So if you're ready, here we go. We're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, folks, here we are. We're going to try to make this real quick because my whole intent is to keep all this underneath an hour. Last time I went way overboard. So let's just get right on into it. And even though this is the Homeworthy Dome platform, okay, this is how we're going to work through the system. Now, once again, if you have whatever, use Spectora, Home Gauge, Inspected, any inspection software that you're using, you can use this. I'm just using to show you basically a little bit about the platform, but mostly we're going to talk about time. So what we're going to do is just do an abbreviated inspection. We're only going to cover a couple components on a couple different houses, and then we're going to wrap this all up. So real quick, I'm just going to run these two files on this one, but what we're going to do is we're going to create a new inspection. Okay, so this is how it looks in Dome. You can just go ahead and hit new inspection. Okay, if If you have ISN, you can just pull the actual ISN number and put it in there, and it will pull all the information down. If not, then you can just go ahead and just put the information in anyways. So it's going to be the time for the day, or you can change the time if you want to. When you want to, we're just going to say 12 noon, okay? And then you're going to select the inspectors, okay? So I'm going to select myself, okay? And what type of report? Alright, this is a building condition pre-sale. So this is how it is in Homeworthy as a pre-list inspection. It's just up as a pre-sale, okay? So you can just hit that and go into the backgrounds, and then you hit save, and that's it. My home inspection report is already in my tablet, so now I can go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and get on the road and get inside.
Away we go. We're on. So basically, there's certain things that you can do definitely that's going to minimize your time on the ground. Now, with that being said, on the ground is where I do most of my time. So where folks normally can do an inspection in 2 or 3 hours, I always block out 4 hours for my time. And sometimes I even go over depending on the size and the situation, if the clients are there or not. But I always block out 4 hours of my time so that I don't have to rush, and it gives me a chance to input information in there. So basically, for my business model, what works for me is that I do 2 inspections, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and that gives me enough time to upload everything else, or get everything corrected and annotated, and still have enough time to be done at the end of the day, okay? So that's one thing that I strongly recommend that you do. Just figure out how much time does it take you to do this, and make sure that everything that you have is prepared. As soon as you get out there, you should be able to go out there, start on your inspection, and get right at it. All right. This is some of the lessons that I had to learn, because I take a lot more time than a lot of other inspectors do. But once again, if I wanted to do this, this was a game. This is a part of my game I personally had to step up to. So we're going to go ahead and knock this out. We're going to do, like it says, we're just going to go over a couple features. Hopefully, if I can do this right and I'm coordinated enough, you can get the gist of what I'm saying. And okay, here we go, folks. I just want to let you know, today's a special treat. So real quick, I am, for the first time, using my iPad, new iPad that I got. Normally, I use a Samsung Android, but this time I want to try it with iOS and see for myself the differences. So let's go ahead and see if we can go ahead and do that. I'm not showing you my passcode. I'll get over that. Anyways, so what we'll do is we'll go here to Homeworthy, and like I said before, you go down here to Current Inspections, and there's our Vanessa Drive, okay? So like I said before, this is going to be an abbreviated one. We're not going through the whole system, but I just want to show you basically how to do a accurate and fast inspection. So, you ready? Hey folks, here we are. We're at one of the new construction sites. We're going to just use this site to pretty much do an abbreviated inspection. Some we're going to use different houses throughout this thing, but real quick, the easiest thing that you need to do as far as preparation is to know 2 important things. Very important. So the first one is the standards of practice, okay? If you don't know what it is that you're looking for, you're always going to be hunting. And now you're just going to be just basically willy-nilly looking around the house for any types of defects. But if you know specifically what you're looking for, then you're going to be able to effectively move in there and get the things done. So here we go. So I'll flip the camera around. So one thing that you should know about your standards of practice is what you're going to be inspected for. So usually what you're covering is roof components. Now what I'm going to use the international standards of practice, and so that you know what I'm following along. Now if you're using ASHI, they're closely related, so you can do the exact same thing. So you're going to talk about the flashing, the valleys, roof coverings, penetrations, chimneys, skylights, and anything else that might be penetrating the roof covering. And you're going to talk about the condition of the roof coverings, and if there's any condition that warrants that might be causing leaking. So that's what you're going to be looking for. So I'm going to put this off real quick because I'm going to use 2 hands when I'm going up there. Use at least 3 points of contact when you're getting up on the roof, and if you have a gutter or something in the system, it's always great to tie it off and make sure that your ladder. So one of the first things I usually do before I even get up on the roof is I check the flashing. All right, I check on the ends, and I also check to look around the covers and make sure that we see how many layers there are. Usually right here at the drip edge you can see if there's any how many layers they are. All right, and usually you can tell if there's different colors. There's multiple shingles, but this is a brand new roof, engineer asphalt shingles, so it's going to be fine. But there you go, you got your fascia that's pretty much metallic, and your flashing that's pretty much metallic. Okay, so we do that. One thing that you definitely want to do is when you want to really make sure that your clients feel that you are doing an outstanding inspection, is to take pictures with your hand in the picture. The more they see you touching, they know that you inspected. It's just a general understanding. So the more that you touch it, so you're taking a picture of this, or you're taking a picture of the flashing, take a picture of the fascia board, or you're taking a picture of the shingles. Make sure that you have a couple of those photos with your hand in it, and they're going to really start to show and convey that you really done an outstanding inspection on the roof. Now, this is a trick that I teach a lot of folks. All right, so when you look at your standards of practice and it says the words inspect and report, see, those words are verbs, and if you change those verbs out with other verbs, it can actually point you in a direction of what you need to do and how to inspect. So if you change the word from inspect to take a picture, then you can go ahead and you can start taking pictures of all the things that you inspect. This is a great way to report, and an excellent way to just refamiliarize yourself with inspecting. Okay, this is just a great way. So one thing that you should do is take a picture of all the things that you see and touch and observe while you're up on the roof. And then when it says report, those are the things that you want to enter inside your inspection report. Okay, up on a ladder. So one thing I always do is I always work in the same direction. I know a lot of the older inspectors say the same thing. You're going to pick a direction that you want to travel. I always work clockwise, basically work around the clock. So first thing I'm coming across is the valley. All right, so we got an open valley. We're going to check and see if everything is good to go. It's good to go on the lathe. Look at a couple shingles. Like I said, it's all brand new, but you know, you just keep on moving. You want to take a picture. Take a picture of your hand actually feeling it. Like I said, it just gives a vote of confidence when you see it in the report. So, all right, so you got one of your ridge lines. Okay. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a picture of the flashing, and I'll take it from right here, showing that I touched it again. And once again, this is a great place to see how many layers of shingle that you have on. But this is a great picture right here. All right. So onward, downward, walk down the edge. Try to stay closer to the edge. All right. And you'll see from there. Again, that's a great photo. If you had gutters, you take right there, get that point of view from the rear, over by the corners. Definitely look on the edge. Look at the gables. Coming up on the roof, down to another valley. Now this is a great section. It just aesthetically looks a lot better. So, got those. We'll get back to those. Got more flashing. Once again, a great photo. You're thorough. You're touching everything. Alrighty. And you go down. So there's part of your venting system. There's your soffit vents. Great picture right there. Alrighty. And you can see that this is this is actually cement siding. All right. Looking at the nail penetrations, nice and even. You know, oh, and also if you really want to get down here, you take a look, and you got your flashing. Okay, so it's all the same thing that we're looking, same standards of practice. All right, I think that we overthink inspection report, but that's my personal opinion. Let's keep moving. All right, you got your point of view given the fields of the shingles. All right, one great money shot that I love to put on a report is to set it right here and take a picture right here. This is really a great way to show if there's any ridge or if there's any sagging or saddling. It's a really great picture, and it just shows like, wow, he's really detailed. So remember, you're inspecting for understanding, okay? Your job is to know what you're looking at, but it's your job to give your clients understanding, all right? So, got your point of view, another valley, come out to the edge. I'm gonna give them the benefit of doubt from here, but that's good. Great photo for here. 3 points of contact. Again, great photo down here. Once again, another part of your ventilation system. It's actually vented, yes it is. Some of them are just aesthetic, all right? Another thing, if you see the nail penetrations, definitely want to take pictures of those, see that they're covered. And again, recommend kick out flashings, okay? So, abbreviated view of your roof vents. Then you start looking at your plumbing vents. Take a picture of you touching it. And also just a general picture of the height requirement. That's a great picture. Then also pictures of you touching the rubber boot, and then also the nail penetrations, and recommend if they're not. There's 3 types of pictures that you want to take, and you'll know this, especially if you go into mold and mold reading. There's 3 perspectives that you want to know when you're taking a picture, okay? So there is anyways. So your second point of view is going to be this photo right here, identifying. You're identifying what it is that you're looking at, okay? So you take that picture, that's your second, and then your third picture is the actual inspection detail pictures. And that's when you are touching, and you're touching, and you are measuring, okay? And if you apply those pictures, or apply those principles into your inspections, not only do you start to show that you are competent in what you're doing, but most important is that you get to more familiarize what it is that you're inspecting. So, like it says, once again, 3 points of view you want to remember. Location, okay? Identification, inspection, all right? You do those 3, you will have a great wealth of knowledge, all right, and what you are looking at, all right? So, we do that. We'll check out the other plumbing. Now we're going to go ahead and start the grounds and the exterior portions, okay? Of course, grounds, you're going to look for deflection, anything that's going to be conducive to water intrusion, and then also the condition of the house structure and all those approaches, all right? So those are going to be like 2 things that you're going to kind of combine together. So like it says, once again, keep inspecting the same way that you do all the time. So let's start here. So you got your patio, all right? Take a look around your patio. Once again, your identification photo. Detail condition photo. Ground level, great point of view. Flashing. The edges. Some sidings need to be painted on the inside because once it cuts, that naked areas also might be a moisture intrusion point. So if you know for a fact that particular type of siding, like James Hardy, that needs to be painted on the outside, just make sure that it has it. All right, make sure that it has flashing. Now this one is short of flashing, so once again, and this one siding is cut short. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there. So how is this looking grading wise? Definitely can do some definite improvements, all right, especially right around the service entrance. Okay, again, window, location, touching, point of view, edges, move on. All right, so great siding photo right there. All right, then you got your service entrance. Of course, it's underground. Take a picture of the meter. Learned this the hard way. Take a picture of this so the electric company don't think that you went into it if they forgot it. Take a picture of you holding it. That's for you showing that you actually felt it and see that it was rigid and it wasn't loose. Okay, of course this is new, but if it's not, then you recommend you caulking. All right, then you go into your service entrance. Okay. Because this is a new construction, I'm not going to take this off, but you know, definitely use your ticker. Make sure that it's safe. Use the back of your hand. Make sure that you don't have nothing. There you got, I don't know if you can see it, 200. Alrighty. And the ground. So it's going to be grounded inside the house. But you see all that stuff. Take a picture. And again, one thing I usually like to do is I'll take this off. I'll take off the cover. And I'll make sure I look at the connections, make sure the connections is, and then I usually use my thermal gun and I'll take a picture or use my infrared camera depending on the weather and the ambient temperature in the Delta T that I'll take a picture of the inside and show that there's no overheating. But you taking a picture with your thermal gun right here at the, that's a money shot right there. So if you don't, then you can just take that picture. All right. Air conditioning, one of the second big components on the outside. Location photo, identification photo, data tag, model number, serial code. If you're using recall check, anyways, if you're using recall check, definitely put that in your report. So, again, what's the max fuse circuit breaker? We have 40 amps. We're not going to know it here until we get on the inside. And then you're going to check the lines, make sure that they're good, it's caulked. Check the grating, see if they're not clogged up. So on the pad, I don't know why, but in the state of Kansas, they do not bolt these things down, and nobody can tell me why. So they all move. I stopped putting it on the report, and nobody can tell me why, but I just let people know that this is how it goes in Kansas. So I'll take a picture on the inside, see if there's anything that's smoking or any damaged wires. Again, and guess what we're missing? That's right, no shut off. So bam, now you can show that you had a gable roof. Okay, and if you put that next to a graphic, now you articulated that to your clients, either the buyers or the sellers, and they can now know what it is that you talk about when you use a lot of technical terms. Okay, again, you want to take a look at any of the footing, any of the stem wall. Apologies. Okay guys, that's about going to wrap it up. I got a whole lot more stuff to do. So let's go ahead and summarize what we talked about today. Okay. Of course, haters. There's just nothing that you're going to do about them. Haters are going to be haters, but there's no way that you're going to change that. But the one thing that you definitely want to do is be able to manage them. Okay, now manage your situations, your interactions with those. Okay, remember, the best way is just to make sure that your voice is inside the conversation. Okay, sometimes it's just you're going to have to just argue to a stalemate, but you know, make sure that you get your ideas out there. All right, silence is compliance. So that's the one thing that I just want to hope that you can take away. Second thing, timing. If you want to do pre-listed home inspections, all right, timing is going to be critical. As you can see, there's different time restraints that's sometimes even more critical or less than you would if you're working for a seller. So you want to make sure that all your ducks in a row. Make sure that you know your SOP like the back of your hand, or at least know what you're looking for and know what you need to report on so that you can give a complete and thorough report. And the second thing is that you definitely want to make sure that you know your software. Know what it is that your software is asking, because it is designed to help you communicate that to your clients, regardless if it's a buyer or it's a seller. So make sure that you definitely know your software and know your SOP. All right, have your method. All right, have one method and stick to it. The more that you deviate from one method, the more time it takes for you to get back, and it just takes more time to do the actual inspection. All right, but remember also, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Take your pictures while you're doing the inspection report, okay? Those are great notes. And then once you have time to sit down, then you can put the annotations and the comments in those particular sections. And you'll find out that you can produce a report quickly, accurately, on time, and still have a life. So, once again, thanks for tuning in. And remember, look for Christ in all his discretion disguises. Make every day Christmas. Y'all take care. God bless.